better than a lot of people out there, and just being around him, he pushes you really hard. He has very high standards for everybody in that room, and he expects everybody to live up to that standard. So that's the kind of coach he is, and I'm excited to work with him.
You've been around big-time programs. What stood out to you when you got here, even with the mat drills and winter work, about the culture at Nebraska when you first arrived?
What stood out was, everybody, a lot of people are bought in. If you have a lot of players who aren't bought in, then, things aren't going to go the way you want them to go. So the more people, the more players that you can get bought in to what the coaches are trying to say, there's going to be a lot of success that, results from that. And that's one thing I've noticed. So, we got a good thing going on, and, a lot of people are, just committed, and that's what you want to see out of the players.
Was there an initial connection that led you to look at Nebraska, a coach that you'd heard of, a friend, a mutual relationship, anything?
It's kind of weird because I wasn't really looking at Nebraska until one day Coach G had hit me, and we're from the same area, so that's a connection right there. And just knowing that there's somebody from the same area that I'm from, he knows what it's like coming out of there. So that's kind of one thing that drew me over here. But yeah.
You feel like the strength of your game is, and what's that thing that you're looking to maybe take the next step on this spring?
I feel like the strength of my game is, being able to create separation, catch the ball, 50-50 catches, my football IQ, and yeah, I think those are my three strengths. Still can improve on those things, but I feel like, for me, that's where I stand out to myself.
Coach Roll had mentioned that one of the things that he wanted the receivers to work on is beating press coverage consistently. Just in your own words, what's it take to be a good receiver who beats press coverage?
What it takes to be press coverage, you have to know and understand the DB. You have to really there are times where you may need to be physical. Sometimes you may need to rely on your technique. It all comes down to understanding your opponent and just being consistent. You can't just rely on talent. You have to rely on your technique. Revert back to your training. And if you just trust your training and you go out there and then you apply it, then you'll begin to see the consistency. And you'll consistently beat press coverage. So. Yeah.
Isaiah, how do you describe the connection and chemistry you have with the quarterbacks after being here just a few months?
It is very strong. Each of those quarterbacks, they're all three different, but they're all three, amazing quarterbacks, and the chemistry is there with each and every one of them. We go out there and practice. I've practiced with all three. They can all sling it. So I'm glad to have all three of them, come out there and compete.
You're a bigger bodied wide receiver, but how is it playing with, kind of those smaller speed scooters next to you, like Jaden Doss and Jalen Miller, those guys?
You learn from those guys, as a bigger body receiver, seeing the things that the smaller receivers do, maybe they're naturally more quicker or more elusive, I try to do my best to see what I can learn from them, and try to apply it in my game. So that's what I say.
What's it like coming in here at the same time with Jamal, maybe having a similar deal where you've been around the college game a while, and what have you seen him bring to the room?
I think it's great. Jamal is a very, very skilled player, obviously very experienced. You guys have seen what he has done. I think it's, great to come in with a receiver like him, and play alongside a receiver with experience. He elevates my game. I elevate his game. We make each other better. We make each other compete. And being able to come out here and, have him on one side, have me on another side, I think it's a pretty good combo. And, I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do this year.
You obviously go up against some of the corners. Tommy Hill's a veteran, a lot of young guys in that room also. What have you seen from that position? Anybody stood out to you?
It's a very, very competitive group. I like Tommy. I like going against him. We was just talking some trash earlier today, so I like going against him, and really all those guys. You know, all of those guys are competitive, and they're learning from each other. You can see. So being able to go out there, you know, you can't take no plays off. You know, that's one thing I noticed about the group. Because if you take a play off, then you know that's their chance to get in on you. So you always gotta stay alert and, you know, just keep the same mentality for each of DB across the board.
Anything else for Isaiah? All right, thank you.
Thank y'all.